What up, football fans all over the world? It's your boy, MacDaGiantsFan, here with my guy, the super dope co-host, Adam Costas. Y'all know what time it is. It's time for that breakout. Deal. NFC East. Round up. Pop that intro. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Real Deal NFC East Roundup. I am MacDaGiantsFan, here with my guy, the super dope co-host, Adam Costas, man. How you feeling today, Adam?
I'm feeling great. We are on the verge of a football game, less than 24 hours away. It'll be here a little bit more than 24 hours away. We will actually have a kickoff. I know people don't want to see Carson Beck and, I forget who else is playing out there, the other quarterback, but, Kenny Pickett. I know that that's what's being marqueed, as people are saying, but I'm going to watch because it's football, and this is what we do. We talk about football on the show, and it's just good to get it back. The smells, the games, it's happening, baby.
I couldn't agree more, man. I'm just glad that tomorrow night we can watch some form of football. I mean, it ain't going to be the greatest. A Hall of Fame game ain't never anything to hang your hat on, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, some football, like you said. You see some of these guys out there. It's going to be probably a lot of guys that you won't be seeing in September, but hey, that's okay. It's still football. It's still football indeed, man. So let's get right to it, man. The biggest news in the NFC East today, by far the biggest news in the NFC East today, is the splash signing made by the Washington Commanders. Not really all the way official from anything I've seen, but it's pretty much official. It appears to be pretty much official, and that is the signing of wide receiver Stefon Diggs, 1 year, $12 million with incentives. Adam, thoughts right now from the door what this means for the Washington Commanders, man?
It is the punch that we were talking about. Remember we were talking about they need a little juice in the offense? Guess what? He's the juice. I hate to say that to you people. He's the juice. He's going to give them that added spark. He's healthy, came off the ACL, played pretty well for the Patriots, went to the Super Bowl last year. People forget he was with that Super Patriot team. And I just think, you brought up something interesting. And we were talking, I guess, quickly before the show. He was signed for $12 million. The Giants need a receiver. They could have used him if in this regard. They could have brought him in. I know they gave Mooney, a lesser player, kind of the same amount of money. So you got to wonder. Now, I understand the baggage and stuff like that, but if you're talking about giving Jackson Dart a weapon, maybe you didn't want to bring that into your locker room, then why do I want to bring it into the Commanders' locker room? You have to have the same conversation if you're saying that about the Giants or any other team that he might go to. He's going to the Commanders. You still have a young quarterback there who's very impressionable on that team, and while it's his team, you bring in a guy like Stefon Diggs, that could upset the apple cart. Now, Stefon Diggs has not really been in trouble on the field for the Patriots. He actually had a renaissance year, just so to speak. And we'll see him being down with the Commanders. If he's healthy, he knows his paydays are getting shorter and shorter, so he may want to try to cash in one last time. And to me, what I think it does for the Commanders is now you add a legit threat on the outside. If Terry McLaurin stays healthy and they can get Luke McCaffrey, I think he's a little banged up, but he can get him healthy. Or a third receiver in that mix, Williams from Clemson, right? Now you don't need to lean on that rookie anymore. He can come in and be that third option, catch balls, make plays, because guess what? Now I have two legitimate number ones on each side, right? You can argue Stefon Diggs is a number one. He was a number one for the Patriots. And you have Terry McLaurin, who is clearly the number one for Washington. Now, you could say that he'll be the number two. Well, I would love to have Terry McLaurin as a number two receiver on my team right now. I mean, I have nobody on my team. He'd be a number one here. So to have that riches that they're going to use, plus we talked last week about the running back stable that they had, I really do think if they can get this offense together and this offensive line together, you might see a little bit more of that dynamic playmaking ability you were talking about last week about Jaden Daniels is going to do a lot for them. And unlike last year, where although he was injured, and let's just take the injury out aside, when he was on the field with the complement of players, Deebo Samuels didn't really live up to expectation, right? He didn't really fit the mold for the Commanders, even when Terry McLaurin goes down. If this guy is healthy, and again, these are all pending rumors, it looks like he's going to lean that way. Now, tomorrow they could wake up and he could have, a bad knee or something wrong with him and they void the contract. But from what is being reported out there and being updated on depth charts as he's coming in, this allows, I really do think it makes them a formidable offense going forward in the NFC East. And again, if you look at the trend that was happening, is everybody's got two receivers they're trying to rely on. The Eagles have a question mark, but they're going to try Malachi Fields and or Devontae Wicks, right? That's their number two. If you look at the Commanders, their number two obviously is either McLaurin or Stephon Diggs. And then you have the Cowboys, who we already know, those two dynamic players. The one team that doesn't have, you could say, a duo that you trust right now would be the has more question marks than other teams, just because guys come back off injury and you don't really have a bona fide number two yet, would be the Giants. And that's unfortunate. But getting back to what you said on the Commanders, I think it's going to open up their offense, and with their running backs, it's going to be fun. Now, defensively is another story, but we're talking about Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is. This is big for Jaden Daniels because I think it just adds like a very reliable weapon, a guy that you can, whatever some of the stuff he gets himself mixed up in off the field, whatever, he's on the field, he handles his business. And that's just period. I mean, and he's been that way his entire career from Minnesota. Houston didn't work out too well. Buffalo, obviously, the year in Houston, it didn't work out too well. And then, like you said, kind of got a bounce back last year in New England. So clearly we know what this guy, what he's capable of and what he's going to bring to this offense, man. And it could be dynamic. It could, I mean, especially with Terry McLaurin already on the other side and potentially looks like it could be a pretty competent running game as well. You know what I mean? And just how the Jaden Daniel, the magic that he can provide, man, the spark that he can give this offense just by his presence alone, just being out there, man, and how much more that elevates this team in general, man. So I think Stephon Diggs, this is a great signing for them. I mean, like you said, we were talking earlier about maybe potential drama. It's like when you said about maybe why the Giants could have did this. But I just think right now where the Giants are, just the kind of team where they're just not – they kind of want to stay away from as much of that as possible. I mean, not that this guy has not been convicted of a damn thing, but, last year he had the white powdery substance on the boat party, and then and then this year the situation with his whoever, I don't know who that was. I can't even remember who it was. I mean, obviously, like I said, no convictions, nothing like that. But at the same time, I think the Giants are the type of organization that was just going to kind of right now try to avoid any kind of excess, anything that brings any attention off of actual football. So, I mean, that's a possibility. But down here in Washington, not quite the media market that New York is. So, that's also maybe it has a little factor in to it maybe, being a better, easier transition. But at the end of the day, they got a player. They definitely did. Washington Commanders, that's a big move today, them adding Stephon Diggs and getting him in still early enough to get him really caught up and ready for the season, to be ready for the season. You know what I mean? Won't be any, shouldn't be too much getting into week one and it's like he's still trying to learn and figure out the offense. Stephon Diggs is a vet. And he'll come in and be able to pick this up and figure it out, man. And it's just a great move by the Washington Commanders. What's going on, Clinton? Salute to you too, brother. Appreciate you popping in, man.
What's interesting is their depth at wide receiver has gone pretty good, right? Like I'm looking at the depth chart and, looking at things around, and it says they have Terry McLaurin, Stephon Diggs, Antonio Williams, Jalen Lane, Luke McCaffrey, and Treylon Burks. Now, I don't know if that's going to be their top five, but they've got some decent depth there and some decent guys that, again, maybe you trade a Luke McCaffrey or a Burks if he's having a good season, a good preseason, with the addition of Stephon Diggs. Maybe you keep him around. Who knows? But they're currently raving about it in Commanderland, and they say something the same thing that we mentioned is if you are relying on Antonio Williams, who was a pretty good receiver in college, right? And instead of putting pressure on him to be the number 2 and step up, now you can let these young guys kind of take their time to develop because you have 2 veterans out there. Let's see how fast he gets assimilated with the offense. But again, this is the type of move that scares teams because now you have to defend the entire field. And what I mean by that is you can't just sit back and relax while you wait. You have to account for everybody because now if they have a solid run game, you put 9 in the box, you got 2 guys who can easily beat you one-on-one, right? If you put all the guys in zone because you can't, you don't want to cover over the top, well, guess what? They have these backs that can come out of the backfield. We know Rashad White can do that. He can come out of the backfield. We already know Bill Merritt can come out of the backfield. So it gives you a little bit more versatility in what they're doing. And it tells you that they have 2 legitimate number receivers that their running back by committee can now take an effect. And everybody on the field becomes now a weapon, especially with Jaden Daniels. I know that Ben Sinnott recently said something about how he likes his offense and his utilization. This also opens him up if he decides to take that next step if he gets there, where the tight ends can be opened up because you have Diggs and McLaurin. I don't think people realize how good it was. You think about that Eagle offense, right? What made them so dynamic with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith is you put one-on-one, you chose a guy who you want to beat you. That's what you did. This is going to be like that, and I think you have a quarterback that has a better deep ball and makes better decisions than Jalen Hurts. No offense to Jalen Hurts. I think he's a gamer, and he'll take the one-on-one matchup when he sees it. But with the legs and the dynamicness of Jaden Daniels, you don't know. He might do something you've never seen, and that's stop and pop, turn his hips, and throw it downfield because you're trying to come up and defend him. But meanwhile, you forget that Scary Terry is there or Stephon Diggs, and because of their veteran salary, they go downfield. The next thing you know, it's an 80-yard touchdown. I just think it's going to be exciting to watch. Now, I don't want to say that too much because I know a lot of people here are Giant fans. Like, what are you doing? I'm like, as an NFL fan, it's going to be interesting to see.
What's going on, Ludwig, in the chat, man? Appreciate you popping in. Good to see you, sir. And Joe Farias, what's going on? Funny guy here, man. Our favorite comedian here, man. Good to see you, brother. But you brought up a name, man. Doing that while you were talking, and this guy that as I'm looking through some of these notes here, that's been showing up, man, taking advantage of his opportunities, man. That is one, Mr. Ben Sinnott, man, a tight end guy that I think people put was expecting to see some things last year from him. They just didn't really quite work out, and that could have had something to do with the fact that there's so much instability at the quarterback position last year with Jaden Daniels being injured so much. But yeah, Ben Sinnott, man, it's like he's been really getting a lot of reps, increased reps at practice, and taking advantage of them, making the most of them. And says he's really looking like he's fitting in really well in David Blau's offense, man. So that's a name to keep an eye on as well. Another potential could be a potential weapon in that offense as they're looking for somebody to step up at that tight end position because you look at
they dropped him in the second round. They had a great
end. I mean, yeah, you look at the tight end position here for Washington. It's Chig Okonkwo and John Bates. I mean, it's not big. It doesn't like it's big hurdles to get over for Ben Sinnott if he wants to come up here and make a difference in his commander offense. So.
Let's just say this, right? The 2 guys you said, the Owosu guy. I like him out of Tennessee. I don't think he signed that much of a big contract, but I know that he can get open, and I know from what I've seen on the film, he can beat guys in space. What is going to allow this offense to work better is that now you get Stephon Diggs, you're adding another person out there that needs to be covered or double teamed. So these tight ends will have opportunities. Ben's not one of them, like you said, but the other guy from Tennessee, the Owusu guy, I think he's a sleeper guy if you want to get on your fantasy team because he did well. He did do some things in Tennessee. Wasn't talked about as much because the quarterback situation down there was horrible with Will Levis and Malik Willis struggling down there to begin with. Then of course Cam Ward. He was not really as featured as he should have been, but he did make some big plays. He had an 85-yard touchdown in a game. So he's got some movement skills, and he's a guy that could be, if Ben Sinnott doesn't step up, could be a guy you're talking about making plays for this Washington team in this new offense. So, I think their offense really took a step forward with these guys, and it makes some of the younger guys a little bit more intriguing when you look through their roster because what will the matchup of Diggs allow these guys underneath to do?
Yeah, I mean it's going to open up a lot for that offense. I just think that I think Washington made it to a big leap today, and now makes me have to reconsider all of what we've been thinking of so far already going into this season. But that's what makes this fun, man. The NFC East is going to be a great division this year, and Washington just really made a move today that's going to impact a lot. But let me just get to these comments again real quick. What's going on, Warbone? Thanks for stopping in, man. If you're new to the channel, bro, make sure you hit that subscribe button for me, man. It says, hello, I would like to thank the Giants for not drafting Caleb down. Look, on draft day, I really wanted him really bad because he was there. But I'm good with CC, man. I'm fine with CC right now. Just like what Joe says, I'll take a good old lineman over a safety top 10 anyway. Well, I guess he meant any day. But what's going on, Tudo? Appreciate you popping in, Tudo. It says Big Mac and AC. Great New Year, John live stream show as always. Greetings from all of us currently in Northern Italy training camp.
Thank you, Tudo.
Appreciate you all the time, Tudo, always. But yeah, let's talk about the defense a little bit before we get off of these guys. Anything you hearing about their defense going on in the camp, Adam?
I hear that Sonny Styles is really looking the part over there on their defense and really adding another presence out there. And that's what you want to hear when you're a top 10 pick overall. For the Commanders, they need that. They obviously they have a new defense they're going in. They like the defense that they're implementing. It's going to be a defense that probably you're going to see Frank Louvu's name a little bit more in this defense because last year, again, they didn't utilize him. They utilized him more as an outside linebacker, which he's more of, to me, a middle linebacker that blitzes well. So if you want him to really disrupt the passer, I think you got to bring him on blitzes and stunts, whereas you're trying to make him something that he's not. But I think with the addition of Sonny Styles, you're going to see a guy like Louvu be able to be free and roam, and you can do different things with him. And then Leo Chanel on the other side, solid linebacker from Kansas City, is going to be able to help that group. And I just think they're getting off to a good start. They also said that Trey Amos is looking pretty good out there. So we'll see how their defensive line pans out. I mean, they have a bunch of, like we talked about last week, a bunch of guys there, but they like what they see out of Chase on. We don't know what he's going to be. Again, we have Kinlaw. We'll see what he does this year. But I think really what we talked about is last week, like you said, if Jaden Daniels is going strong, this Washington team doesn't really have to have a great defense. They just have to have good enough to get off the field, right? And we'll find out if this new defensive coordinator emphasizes the run. I think they're going to try to stop the run a little bit more, use their big guys up front. But again, their pass rush is still unknown. But Sonny Styles has stood out, and as has a lot of the top defensive players drafted in this draft. A lot of them have had good reviews. Well, again, we'll see if that translates on Sundays.
Yeah, absolutely. Sonny Styles have been hearing great things from Sonny Styles so far in Washington camp. Really adjusting to this next level, man. So, like you said, it'll be something to keep an eye on. Another guy getting a little praise in Washington's camp is Russell Douglas, a veteran. They brought veteran corner nickelback. They brought in just his presence, leadership in that secondary. Just trying to help stabilize it. And you're not expecting like huge things from Russell Douglas, obviously. But at the end of the day, he brings a veteran presence, a guy that can still has a little bit of game in him, and it's good to have a leader back there, somebody that can show some of these young guys a little bit of life in the NFL, man, what it's all about. So getting good praise out of camp as well. Some injury stuff for the Washington Commanders that I've been seeing. They got one that we need to really keep an eye on, real serious, potentially one. And that's their starting center, Nick Allegretti, nursing a calf injury. And right now he hasn't been practicing apparently, and it's just something to keep an eye on for them. And the issues they've had on their offensive line like the season ago and whatnot. So they really want to keep an eye on Nick Allegretti, their starting center.
Well, again, it's early. Thankfully, that's the good part about the training camp right now is you don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be ready. Like, look at Mike Evans. He's already got banged up, but the 49ers don't play a game till mid-September, right? And we're basically just stepping in through the door of August. So I'd rather have a guy injured now. So when I think it'll be a concern is if I hear come the regular season when they're going up against the Eagles and that defense that's kind of been a little bit revamped, that's when I will be concerned if I hear him still in the injury report. But right now, just like Max said, we can just monitor it. But until I see it in September, it's still kind of early. So we'll see how it fluctuates and what happens. But you're right. It is something to keep an eye on. But I think their depth has played okay, because they're in and out of the lineup. And we'll see what David Bilal does. And they're trusting him to come up with a scheme. So we'll find out. And sometimes, to be honest with you, a center can be bailed out by a quarterback like Jaden Daniels, meaning if the guy holds up enough, Jaden might make a play. But if I haven't heard that the offensive line is basically being under siege without him, obviously they're doing what they need to do against their defensive line. But I haven't really heard too many rumors. So again, we'll see how that plays out.
Absolutely. Joe Ferry says, well, any top 10 linebacker should be outstanding, even showing up day one. I mean, you would like to believe that, but
Aaron Curry was a top 10 linebacker and failed.
We've seen some things in the NFL along the years, man. And then he says down here, he says, wow, I could only find 5 top 10 linebackers who busted in 40 years. Well, look, point is, it happens. It happens. So, you got any final thoughts on the Washington Commanders, Adam? Or we can.
Nope. That's basically all we got.
Well, let's move it along then, man. Let's move it along and let's talk about where do we want to go? We want to go to the Philadelphia Eagles or the Dallas Cowboys?
I guess we'll go with Philly, and then we'll go with the Cowboys.
Let's go to Philly then. Let's talk about these Philadelphia Eagles and what they got going on, man. What you hearing coming out of Philadelphia Eagle camp, Adam?
Well, right now I'm hearing that, they're still getting adjusted to the offense. They're trying to figure out what their deal is, and I think there's a lot of question marks still in the secondary left with their safeties and their pass rush. I mean, their defense we do know is going to be. It was a solid unit last year, but can Jalen Carter take that step? People are still talking about him, with the signing. They brought in A.J. Epinesa. Let's see what he does. I know I'm hearing Dante Wicks is having a good camp. I don't know if he's going to be – apparently they're saying that he's becoming the bona fide number 2, so we'll see again if that plans out. Mekhi Lemon obviously is not doing exceptionally well, but they have some guys doing their things. Josh Warru is a player that they say is doing well. They have Tank Bigsby, plenty of you know him. He's doing well. Jay Lynx Hunt, he's apparently having a solid camp. So those are some guys that are doing well. Now, some cause for concern might be the 2 rookies. I mean, Stowers and Mekhi Lemon. But again, they're learning a new system. Who knows what really is the problem with them? But well, Mekhi Lemon's been injured, so he's not learning. And then Eli Stowers, he's still out there. So, and what I don't think is good is Will Shipley and Tanner McKee having some down practices, because I've heard that they like the kid they drafted out of North Dakota State. There's been some people talking in their like circle of fan bases that they like him. So it's interesting to see, because that's a guy for me, Tanner McKee. If he has a great preseason, and you like Kyle McCord, and you like this kid from North Dakota State, why wouldn't I want to trade him to a team that might need a quarterback or a guy that is a bridge quarterback? And there might be many. So that sucks if he's sucking. Tank Bigsby could push out Will Shipley. I mean, a guy that was here last year, that would be probably pretty sad, because you drafted him and he'd get kicked off the roster by a free agent. But you know how the Eagles do. So, those are some of the things that I've heard and, read about and kind of think are interesting. I mean, Devontae, what's surprising to me is this Wicks guy, to be honest with you. Dotavian Wicks. I don't think he was – I don't think, and this is just my opinion, a lot of people can correct me if I'm wrong, he wasn't, to me, the strongest guy, but yet you paid him I think they paid him like close to $15 million, something ridiculous to be in the mix. And it's just curious, because when you look at his production, it doesn't go up, it goes down. And I understand what happened, but you look at Green Bay, they had a lot of injuries on that team, and he still wasn't quite the number one receiver. So I want to see how he does. Mekhi Lemon is Mekhi Lemon. He's a first overall pick, but not overall, but first round pick, I should say. Excuse me. He'll have his time to shine. He has 4 years. This guy is coming in trying to strike gold. We'll see what he can do. But other than that, heard Devontae Smith is looking good, and Jalen Hurts. We'll see what he can do. Apparently, there are concerns about him this year, because they obviously haven't paid him yet. So what does that mean? Does that mean he has to have a big year for them to pay him? Who knows what will happen, but will that elevate Jalen Hurts? Who knows? But I was talking to a friend of ours, AK, and this will be my last point, and he brought up something that was interesting. He brought up the fact that that the Eagles like a certain player, and will they allow for this quarterback to develop? Well, does that mean Hurts is in trouble? Now, to me, I don't know, but being that Hurts was a second round pick and he's come a long way, I don't know if you're going to get rid of him, but will they want to add another, a couple $100 million to his contract, because he's going to want big money. So if you have a guy in house that they like, and they seem to like this kid out of North Dakota State as a developmental prospect, it's something to keep an eye on as the season goes on and how they play out. So, they're the Eagles. I give them respect, but there's a bullseye on their back, and I think they can be shot down.
Absolutely agree with that. But Joe Ferris here in the chat says, man, if you thought the Wandale contract was dumb, look at Zay Flowers. I don't know. Did Zay Flowers get a new contract, Sam? I didn't hear anything about that. If you did, I don't know.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't have paid him either way for me, but he's not on our team, unfortunately. So we're not as full. And I didn't get that news yet either. So I don't want to comment on that contract if I don't really know too much about it or heard about it. But Wanda Robinson ain't here. He ain't my problem anymore. Thank God.
Oh, $35 million per. I mean, look, for what it's worth, though, that you can say thank you to a person like Wandale Robinson, because
I think Zay Flowers is better than Wandale.
That's why I'm saying that. I mean, I think he can say thank you because he is better than Wandale. So therefore, he should be getting paid more money than Wandale. So I mean, that's just the way it works, man. It's just always going to be that way. But that is kind of a stiff price for a guy that I think is. I mean, he's been solid, but he hasn't been like that legit number one guy that you really. He hasn't turned into that killer that you were kind of hoping for when you drafted him. But like you said, this ain't about Zay Flowers. This is about the NFC East. It's about the Philadelphia Eagles, and the fact that I think they're having a similar right now, kind of similar camp situational to what the New York Giants are, man. Just like we'll get back to that. This is like situationally, like similar to the Giants, man. Like in a sense, man, here where the defense is pretty much continuously winning the days, while the offense is learning a new offense. There has been some struggles. Jalen Hurts, he's struggling a little bit getting his timing down in this offense. But they're saying the command of the system has been improving with each practice. So, it's just what you kind of go through. Like, I think somebody said it best. I think Mike Florio, I listened to earlier, said it best, man. He was like, this is normal. Defense is usually always going to be ahead of the offense in the training camp, especially in the early part of training camp. It's not like it's some kind of shocker to see the defense is kind of winning. It's like it's just a little bit more, not quite as much to take in on the defensive side of football as it is on the offense. More intricacies, more things, all these little nuances in these offense, the language, everything. It's just it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot to take in. So Jalen Hurts, for his 6th time learning a new offense since he's been in the NFL, for what it's worth, you've seen him in action. I think it's definitely nothing to be alarmed about by no means. I think he's proven in the past throughout his career that he can, get it together, figure it out, make it work. And I think this is going to pretty much do the same thing here, man. Pretty much.
You could argue, and this is what you could argue, the Cowboys tend to always have their offense out the gate, right? Always rip-roaring and flying. So while I do agree the adjustment does happen, and it does take a lot of time because I think they're trying to make him under center, and I think that's where the adjustment lies. And those type of things mechanically can slow you down. And maybe, just maybe, we'll see because a lot of these teams have new offensive coordinators in the NFC East. Will this be something that teams jump on early, right? Like, let's say the Commanders. The Commanders, maybe the defense hasn't changed per se too much, so maybe they have some continuity there, let's just say. And they can get an edge on the Eagles because the Eagles are still trying to get their footing with their offense going. So there might be some miscommunication, especially with guys like with guys like Wicks coming in and Devontae Smith as well. There might be some miscommunication from these new guys who are just trying to learn the system and learn the chemistry, right? So this is where it could get sticky. The one thing you want to read about these practice reports, though, is I always take things like this. If you know an offense is ridiculously good and they're struggling against a defense, ask yourself, is the defense really that good or is the offense really that bad, right? Because that's how you're going to gauge this team. Most of the time I follow the Giants and I've listened to the reports and I've been able to kind of parse out where I thought the offense might land in their regular season. And I've kind of hit the nail here and there on the head with certain things when I'm hearing them and I'm watching the team. So when you're watching preseason, don't necessarily watch for what they're going to do because it's vanilla. See how they execute. See if there's penalties. See if there's offsides, things of that formation issues, because that's where you'll really be able to catch a team and see how they're going to be. And I think if they're having procedural issues or miscommunication, that can develop, and you hope that Jalen Hurts can bring that out. But again, this should be to me, this is on Nick Sirianni. If this offense struggles out the gate, it's on you, bro. You brought in Sean Mannion. You brought in a guy with no experience, and you're putting yourself on the line, right? And you're hoping, just like in Washington, that your quarterback can bail you out. Because if he doesn't, it's going to be a long year for the Eagles if they can't get over this. And it could end with Nick Sirianni's head on a platter if they don't make the playoffs or they don't look good going into the playoffs if they somehow qualify this year. So this is really one of those things where while it's early, just make sure you're keeping tabs on little things and details as you go forward, because that will be how they look offensively. You can tell little things in the preseason, not too much, not like you're going to know all their game plans, but you'll see tendencies and you'll see little troubles that they've had. And I can go into the Giants early on. A couple preseasons ago, they beat the dog crap out of the Carolina Panthers. And everyone's like, oh, the offense is good, the offense is great, but we're really that good with a team that was really that porous? It turns out the Giants weren't really that good, and they showed out against a team that was really, really bad. So you just got to kind of look at these things and take them with a grain of salt as you go. I know that was a long-winded answer. People don't want to hear that. They'll probably say, shut up and let Mac talk. I'll let Mac talk. Alex, man, what's up, man?
What's going on, Alex, man? Good to see you, man. Always, brother. Always good to see you. So, AC the philosopher. one must ask themselves, is the offense really doing that well, or if one's defense is inadequate?
Well, I mean, it's something to think about because they go up against each other, and you tend to learn tendencies. If you've ever played football, and I know Mac might relate to this, is that if you play a guy every day and you know him, you're going to be able to beat him sometimes and look good at practice. So now, yeah, you're beating, let's say Andrew Thomas because you understand his moves and everything like that. But then on game day, that doesn't translate because you're playing a whole new opponent that you have not as familiar with. Right? So when you look at these things, make sure that your expectation of defense is there, your expectation of offense is there, see where it mirrors itself, and that's where you might end up, right? If your offense is struggling right now and throwing interceptions, you might want to keep your ears up like, they struggled with this. Let's see if that continues in the regular season, even if they get better in practice, because familiarity doesn't mean you're better. It just means I know the guy in front of me. I know his punches. I know his counter punches. So it makes me look good because I know that this guy is going left or this guy is going right or the tendencies in practice that don't necessarily happen in the game. So just keep that in mind when you're listening to practice reports.
Joe Ferris here, man. Ask a question here. He says, is the Eagles' window for Super Bowl closing, guys? Finally, it's definitely closing. I'm not going to say it's shut. It's definitely not shut.
Well, they're a playoff contender. I wouldn't say they're a Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's shut. Well, they kind of technically still are though right now in the NFC conference. Right now, they're like the top 3 or 4 favorite to get there, man. So in the NFC,
really,
man, absolutely they are.
Wow,
absolutely.
Because I mean, maybe I'm drinking the juice that AK is pouring because he doesn't really feel the team is going to do well. And me, my philosophy on the NFC East, I think it's going to be like the NFC South. Every team's going to be pretty close towards the end. Right. So for me, I'm not looking at the Eagles saying they're the Super Bowl team because maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe they blow the doors off the Commanders come week 1. But I think for me, they're not as far away from where we are than that. I'm not saying the gap is closed, but they could easily get an injury here, an injury there, and be derailed for the year. There's not enough depth behind them. Right. We talked about their backup quarterback situation. And we talked about who has the best one in the NFC. If some guy goes down, their season's basically cooked. I know that's not a huge take, but what I'm saying is, for me, in my gut, I don't feel they're the dominant team that they've been the last few years. I think they'll be good. They might be in the playoff mix, but I see a team like the Lions bouncing back. I could easily see Green Bay, getting better. I could see the 49ers still being in that feisty mix. You've got not only to mention the 49ers, you still have the Rams and Seattle out there as well. And then a couple of teams in the NFC East are going to try to nip at their heels. So I think they're going to have a tough year. And they're not, to me, the bona fide, they're going to be dominant. You can crown them now, but I don't think they're going to be a repeat champion.
No, they're not. I'm not. They got more question marks right now than they probably have in quite a while. But for what it's worth, I think even on paper right now, they're still right now. I would still make them the favorites in this division until somebody else proves otherwise. I think that will happen. I think there's a strong chance it's going to happen. But I mean, it just is what it is. I mean, they still, even with all the question marks they have around them, they still are the team at the top right now, looking down on everybody else. And we got everybody has to go catch them. But that window, like I agree with Joe, that window is definitely closed a little bit. That gap is not nearly as big as it once was. Got somebody else new in chat here. Says Nads 5-time Super Bowl champs, baby. Okay. Welcome to the chat, man. Appreciate you coming in, man. It says Giants are a dark horse. Hope so, man. We hope so. Definitely can't wait to get them on the field and see how it all plays out. But let's talk about the Eagles defense a little bit, man. And Jalen Carter got the big contract last week, and says he's out here at practice showing up, man. Says very disruptive, most disruptive player on the field. See, every play he's collapsing the pocket. Reminds everybody why he's one of the best defensive tackles in the league, man. So he's out there doing his job. It doesn't look like he's pulling an Albert Haynesworth, get the money in, I think some people might have feared potentially, does he have that kind of attitude? Will he be that type of guy? Albert Haynesworth got the bag and then just said he didn't feel like playing no more, pretty much. But they do got some injury stuff going on as well. The Philadelphia Eagles, man. Well, Lane Johnson was out, had an excused absence, something probably personal there. But Devontae Smith, Mekhi Lemon, that's your top 2 receivers not practicing. That's never a good thing, especially when you're learning a new offense, quarterback trying to get the timing down, and not having his top 2 guys out there is definitely could definitely be problematic, man. So I don't really have much more with the Eagles right now, man. If we can get ready to want to move to the Cowboys, or you got any final thoughts with the Philadelphia Eagles?
Well, my last thought is you hope Jalen Carter plays well like that. To me, he hasn't lived up to that contract in terms of who he is. I mean, he's been a good player, but has he been the top 10 player that we thought? Not yet. We'll see if he gets there. And if he's starting in practice, let's see. You want to see all pros. And, I mean, he is technically considered a top D tackle in the league, but I just need a little bit more, and let's see what he can do with this contract.
Interesting. I'm curious about that as well, man. Look, I think the guy is legit. I think he's one of the absolute best in the business, and I think the Eagles will ultimately be very, very happy that they went on here and took care of that business of re-signing him, man, and bringing him back in long term. So let's move up to the Eagles. Let's get to the Dallas Cowboys over there in Oxnard, California, man. Dallas Cowboys, man. You've been hearing out of the Dallas Cowboys camp, Adam.
Well, that Caleb Downs is finding his way to and around the football, making plays left and right, really elevating the defense. Their safety group is coming together a little bit. It really is interesting to watch. Obviously, they have had a couple injuries here and there, but if they can get out of this division healthy and their defense can be better, like we mentioned, they're going to be interesting to watch because they can score with the best of them. Obviously, with the situation with their receiver, right, and George Pickens, he's still practicing, he's still out there, he's still doing all that he needs to do. But to me, I really think that this is going to come down to the health of the offensive line, how well Dak Prescott can keep this team afloat. Because if their defense it doesn't need to be spectacular, but it needs to be good enough to, hold a lead at the end of games or make a play or two here to get their offense back. It might be interesting to see that they might challenge for the NFC. So we'll see. Guys like Blue are standing out. Ryan Flournoy is a guy that I'm interested in seeing because will he get more targets this year? I heard he's having a decent camp out there. Obviously, he's the bona fide number 3 receiver. You can't get much better than CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. It's unfortunate for him, but that's what it is. But I think he can offset, the tight end and help open up. I heard that, CeeDee Lamb's having camp, but there was something interesting I saw with him. He put a netting over his head and he was catching the ball with the netting. I thought that was pretty interesting tactic to do. Ravel seems to be having a solid camp. He's a guy who can contribute, and we'll see. But right now he's in the third in the rotation as Kobe Durant and Deron Bland are the number 2 guys. Kobe Durant is also having a good camp as well. So they got some good things going on in Dallas. It's usually about injuries. And will their pass rushers step up? And obviously they have some questions, on the offensive line. But I really think they have some solid pieces they can compete with. And they got a lot of guys who are standing out or, impressing. So DeMarvin Overshown is looking good. And then, you have Jake Ferguson and a couple of tight ends. So, and Rashawn Gary, he's getting his fitting. We'll see how they're doing. I heard they're stopping the run a lot with the 2 D tackles. They're loving going up against them. The interior guys were very praiseful of Quinton Williams and Kenny Clark and how they're attacking it. So those are a couple of my thoughts. And Joe, you might be right. They might win.
I think the Cowboys are going to win it. I tell you what, they do got a really good shot. I mean, their offense is absolutely dynamic. Their defense, if it could just be even middle of the pack this year, a middle of the pack defense, what they can do on their ability on offense just makes his team potentially lethal. So Cowboys could definitely win the East. Absolutely. Says why he trying to catch passes dressed as a beekeeper? What the hell? The NFL preseason hype is so ridiculous.
I mean, look, whatever you think you need to use to get an edge, you use it, right? He had a lot of big drops last year in crucial moments of games that cost them games. We're talking about the Eagle game in game 1 where the ball was placed perfectly in his hands and it went right through it, right? And a couple other games during the season he had that issue. If this is something that he thinks is going to help him avoid distraction and avoid dropping passes, well, more power to him. It's yet to be determined, obviously, because, these things, they have merit. Just because you practice it may not happen in the game. We'll see. But again, you like to see guys getting an edge, and I think that's really what he's doing. He's trying to, if he has it on thick enough, the ball's going to come out at the last second, right? Because you have a clear picture, but you don't have a clear picture. It's not crystal clear. So you would hope that when he takes off the beekeeper stuff, that it will allow him to see the ball better. So,
what is going on in the chat? Two giant goofballs, man. I appreciate you popping in, man.
Come by, guys.
And make sure y'all go sub up to the two giant goofballs as well, man. Do great content over there, man. Great shows all week long, man. They great entertaining shows, man. Really knowledgeable. Two guys really knowledgeable as well.
Cool.
Wow.
I love it.
Rob and Drew. Appreciate what y'all do, man, for the New York Giant community, man. Beekeepers are cool. I saw that Jason Statham movie. That was a great movie. I definitely enjoyed that movie thoroughly. I do agree with that. Clinton says, I think New York Giants will win the East.
Ooh, okay. Maybe we'll do a poll at the beginning of the year, towards the end of the preseason. We'll do a poll for you guys, and you guys can chime in and we'll tally the votes to see what the fan base thinks who's going to win. So it'll be fun.
Appreciate it. Says you've seen every low budget movie made. That wasn't a low budget movie. That wasn't a low budget movie, brother. That was a good one.
Hey, don't be mad as a diverse cinema knowledge. Come on.
It was like John Wick with some B knowledge.
Well, he has a new movie coming out this month, so basically the same thing.
And I mean, it was good. It was good. Maybe it wasn't the biggest budget, but it was still good. It was an excellent film. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
They're mostly low budget. Mine is like.
It was only a Prime movie. It wasn't even in the movie theater. It was just some Amazon Prime movie.
You know what?
If I'm not mistaken.
He's an awesome action star. Don't you slander Jason Statham's name.
But it was still good. I liked it.
And like you said, he has a new movie out. I forget what it's called, but it's coming out August 21st. All you Jason Statham fans.
I mean, she was only in it for like the first, I don't even know, she was in it for half an hour before she got killed. But
their budget can only afford Felicia Rashad.
Ludwig said the beekeeper. All right, we went completely down a beekeeper rabbit hole, guys. So let's get back on track. Oh yeah, I'm sorry for anybody that didn't see that. Yeah, my bad. If you're tuning in for Felicia Rashad, my bad. I didn't mean to spoil. Rookie Caleb Downs, man, continue with the show off though. Dallas came making a name for himself. Really doing some good things, productive things. Tyler Guyton also is asserting himself as well at the left tackle position. Really, they said strengthening his case, to be that guy at the left tackle position. And so hearing good things. And Jaden Blue, so far, flashing his ability also out there in the running back room as running back depth. I don't know, but Jaden Blue to me is a guy that last year, everybody talked about him all through camp as well. And then once the season got there, just didn't make the most of his opportunities in the regular season, man. And Call really had to carry the load. Javonte Williams had to truly carry the load most of the way. And so we'll see if Jaden Blue can take that next step for the Dallas Cowboys. But so far, he's doing some good things in camp as well. And Ryan Flournoy, another guy you were mentioning, also absolutely taking advantage of his opportunities. Like you said, it's got us up to go into camp and knowing that at best you're only going to be a number 3 receiver at best, no matter what. That's just what it is. But yeah, he's taking advantage of his opportunities and working his way to maybe a bigger role in this Cowboy offense as well.
Let's put it this way. If he does well enough, Jerry does dumb things. He might say, well, I have Ryan Flournoy here, George. I'm not going to pay you because I have a guy here who's cheaper and can be the number 2 receiver. So there's a lot riding on him if he does well, because Jerry Jones is easily swayed sometimes and makes dumb decisions. So, you never know. I'm not saying it's going to happen. You should pay George Pickens, especially if he's a beast like he was last year. If he's a beast this year, you should pay him. But that's something to monitor as the season goes on and how they play out when the offseason comes back. How will they handle it? But Ryan Flournoy, I don't mean to laugh, but the way you're going to be number 3, there's no option to be 1. Like, yeah, that's tough, man.
It's just the facts. There's no path towards 1 or 2. You're going to only be playing for the at best number 3.
Man.
Any other wide receiver on the Cowboys team coming into camp, not named CeeDee Lamb or George Pickens, you're playing just at best for the number 3 spot. I mean, that's just what it is.
I would hate to be the coach to be like, listen, hate to tell you this, but you're never going to be number 1 here. Like, sorry to tell you that. You're going to be number 3, be the best number 3 in the league, right? So let's see what happens. I think the ball's going to be spread around in this offense. Second year, Dak Prescott, this is what you wanted. You got out Mike McCarthy. Time to show up or show out. No more fucking bullshit. And if they can get a pass rush, because they like Azariki too. People don't know. They drafted him last year out of Boston College, and he was, I guess, solid last year. Wasn't anything to write home about, but they're expecting a lot out of him. They're expecting a lot out of Rashawn Gary. And we'll see how their pass rush holds up. And we'll see what Quinnen Williams and Kenny Clark do, because I do believe Quinnen Williams is a pretty good player. And we'll see if a whole year in the offense and a new team does him some justice.
We'll see. But it says Clinton Jones says, "Hey Mac, did you see WWE SummerSlam?" I did. I saw all of night 1, and I saw I saw a limited night 2. I haven't seen all of night 2 yet, but I already know all the results, so who knows? I may not even go back and watch it. It says Pickens is getting less than Zay Flowers. Yeah, for right now he is, but that's going to change. That if he has a season like he did last year, that's going to change. That's just so. And Dak was really good last year. Yeah, Dak was really, really good last year. And if he continues to be as good as he was a season ago, like I said, just watch this Dallas Cowboy offense could be downright scary, man. But
unfortunately, out the gate they play us. So.
But as far as some of the takeaways, some of these guys we're talking about here with the up front on defense, the defensive line getting a lot of love right now, a lot of praise. Bringing in Kenny Clark. They've said they've been consistently challenging the offensive line, giving Dallas a much more physical presence in the trenches than they had a year ago, which they definitely need. That Dallas Cowboys, the middle of that defense was soft as cotton. I mean, and they definitely needed an upgrade, and it's where they may have it. And this is what we're talking about, man. So we'll see. And then also dealing with some injuries, a little bit of injury stuff they're dealing with. Lost a tight end named Princeton Fant that I can't even find him on their depth chart. So whoever he is, he probably won't be missed. Tyler Guyton dealing with some little bit of soreness. He was limited in practice today. And DeMarvion Overshown also dealing with some little soreness, limited in practice, but nothing major, nothing too serious to worry about. What we got here in the comments right quick. The chat says Dak Prescott's been treated like the queen bee in Dallas for years, protected, praised, and paid like the entire hive depends on him. But when the pressure comes, the honey stops flowing. I agree, Drew, 100% with that. It's been my only beef with Dak Prescott, man. He kills it in the regular season, he kills it, but then you get to the postseason and something just seems to doesn't work. It never seems to work out for him, unfortunately, man. So let's see if he can get over that hump. That's something I think he needs to get over within his own self internally, man. Issue. He needs to see if he can really take that next step if they get to the postseason. I want to go see Jake the Snake, Coco Beware, and Jimmy Snooker back in the day. Right, legends. The honey is flowing, and that's the cash. Cowboys fans don't like Dak at all. And Drew says that's the problem with Dallas. They keep polishing the same jar and acting surprised when the honey inside tastes exactly the same. What is with you guys and honey? How you doing? Getting ready for the season. It will be fun, Clinton. Absolutely. What y'all think about the wide receivers this year? Well, we're about to get to the Giants in a minute, man. We'll tell you exactly how we feel about them. There's a lot to talk about, especially in that room. It says, and by the way, yes, you can teach AI to talk like Jason Statham in The Beekeepers, in case anyone was wondering. See, where we got here? It says, this is from somebody new to the chat. Scale, am I saying that right? 17. Hey, Commanders fan here. How y'all doing in training camp? Well, thanks for popping in, man. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We really would appreciate it. We do this every Wednesday, talk about the NFC East. And we did cover the Commanders already since they had the top story in the division today, bringing in Stephon Diggs, man. But we're about to talk about New York Giants training camp in a minute. If you want to, more than welcome to hang out. Give me a surprise Commanders rookie. Give me a surprise Commanders rookie. I don't know what that's Scally. I'm sorry, I can't hardly read that. Joshua Josephs is a fifth rounder who's turning heads in camp. Yep, you said it right. Oh, thank you. You didn't want to mess your name up. Drew shows up talking about honey references in obscure movies. It's not an obscure movie. It might not have been a big budget production, but it's not. I wouldn't call it an obscure movie. It's a good action flick, man. So I'll stick around. Nothing better to do. Appreciate it, man. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button for us while you're doing it, while you're sticking around, man. But yeah, anything else on Dallas before we move on to the New York Giants, Adam?
Not really. I mean, if you want to talk about Dak's regular season, again, 30 touchdowns, 4,500 yards, and he threw 10 picks. So spectacular year for that man.
Absolutely.
If he did that in year one with Brian Kleinheimer, I don't know how much better you can get with that. So we'll see. And I'm looking at his postseason. He's not as awful as it looks when you look at the stats. Obviously, that doesn't tell the story because you have to watch the games. But overall, it's just interesting when you look at his stats and then you see what he's done in the postseason. Like, wow, he has stats where you think he should be able to win games, and he hasn't. But anyways, that's all I got.
I agree. Like I said, you don't have to sell me at all. You don't have to sell me on Dallas players, man. But says he was saying Tennessee players always scared me. Hope he works out for you guys. I guess he's talking about guy in Washington, I think. He says Clinton says the Cowboys are going to lose their first game. I hope they do.
You can't be terrified of Jalen Hyatt.
Oh, well. Yeah, he's Jesus, Jalen Hyatt. But he's been, once again, I don't know. Think about this guy. Speaking of Tennessee, y'all need to smash the overpassing yards for Cam Ward this season. All right, we'll see. I don't know. I'm not a gamer. I don't know what the odds are. I don't really get into all of that, but we will see. But let's get to the New York Football Giants, man. Let's talk some New York Giant football because there's been a lot going on in New York Giant camp, a whole lot, and this guy here has been one of the stars of the show.
Fast and violent. And that's kind of what I try to model my game after, being fast and violent.
Absolutely. So, Adam, what you got, man, from New York Giants training camp, man?
Man, I'm loving Arvell Reese. I'm loving what he did. I told you guys when he was drafted that he's a linebacker. He is not just he's not just an edge rusher, and it's good to hear that he's assimilating well on the offense. But I mean, on the defense, excuse me. But what's interesting to me is the dynamic. Guys making plays, guys stepping up, guys feeling a little bit more energy. We're hearing about Deontay Banks and how he's looking, but there's also guys like Colton Hood. There's a lot of good competition happening across the board, and so the fact that we get to hear about Arvell Reese making an impact, and I heard that he made an impact in terms of the run game. Like he was filling the gaps, he was hitting these guys, and I can't wait to see him play a full set of downs in the repertoire. We know it also is interesting to me is two other guys in the linebacking room having good training camps is Jack Kelly and Micah McFadden. And it makes me wonder, now that Tremaine Edmonds, not that we're not hearing about Tremaine Edmonds, because obviously Tremaine Edmonds is contributing to some of these plays, but it makes you wonder if guys like Jack Kelly and Micah McFadden are around, what happens down the road if, let's say, you don't want to pay Tremaine Edmonds, right? Because remember, he did get that short-term contract. He did get cut by the Bears. It wasn't like a trade. So what does that mean? Does Jack Kelly come in there and you have Arvell Reese and Jack Kelly running the show? I mean, I looked at their age. Jack Kelly is 23 and Tremaine Edmonds is about 28, 29. So in 3 years, he'll be 31. Jack Kelly will be 26. You'll still be able to, and of course, Arvell Reese will be 23. You'll be able to maybe transition like that. So I'm kind of excited to hear these guys doing well. I'm kind of excited to hear that Michael McFadden is doing well. It allows for versatility on defense, right? You can then move Arvell Reese down to a pass rusher, and then you could put in Michael McFadden if you want and do many different things. I'm intrigued by the cornerback position because the rumor is Paulson Adebo does not look great. And I'm wondering if he was an overrated player, meaning like he played well for the Saints, but wasn't really that good and got paid just because he had a solid year before breaking his leg. And now here he is. So I haven't really heard great things about him, so I'm concerned. But let me switch it over to the offensive side. They've been struggling a little bit. Today, you said they were a little better, but something intrigued me in a podcast I listened to. And I think it was Jordan Anand. He was mentioning to, I think it was Pat Leonard. He said the Giants have a interesting dilemma at offensive coordinator because they have Matt Nagy, they have Brian Callahan, and they have Greg Roman. But whose offense is it really? And what are they doing? And a lot of the struggles they say that Jackson Dart is having is because he's trying to, one, learn a center position, but he's also trying to learn three different types of offenses in one and trying to incorporate that. So you have to ask yourself, what is the philosophy going forward? Because you don't want to see these struggles continue. Now, again, there was an uptick. Hopefully that's a good thing going forward. But again, familiarity at training camp, sometimes that allows you to get the one up on a team. Hey, we ran right 3 times. Let's run left and get them. So we'll see. But it is good to hear that they were productive. They did score some touchdowns recently, which a lot of people were worried about. I really wasn't because they're, guys are working on their footwork. And it was interesting to hear that type of philosophy. Like, wow, they are incorporating 3 different offenses. There's no real chain of command that he's hearing that it's Matt Nagy's offense. It's kind of like they're in a room together, game planning together. So there's a lot going on that side of football. I'm not concerned, but there is an interesting development as well. Now you're starting to hear about Isaiah Likely being the number 2 option in the Giants offense, which Malik Neighbors being number 1, which brings me to the wide receiver position. Obviously, Odell Beckham Jr. is having a solid camp. He's doing the things that he needs to do, but where come Sundays is he going to fit in, right? I haven't heard much from Darius Slayton. That doesn't mean he's not doing things, right? But where do you got that? If you're going to use Isaiah Likely as number 2, Malik Neighbors was on track, let's say, for game 1. And then you have Mooney who's making plays and Calvin Austin making plays, not to mention Malachi Fields. it's going to be tough to see where they're going to put him in here. It's good that he's playing with the first team. I call that reps, meaning if somebody goes down, he's going to need to step up and play with the first team. We can't just have Odell Beckham Jr. not, but he's earned those reps, and it's good to see. So I'm liking what I'm seeing. I'm really liking what I'm seeing from the defense. Hope that holds up. We'll see. Let's cross our fingers for no injuries. And I think the offensive line is doing a solid job as well. I'm hearing good things about J.C. Davis and CC and Andrew Thomas. I mean, I'm not worried they got beat by Abdul Carter. That just means Abdul Carter is good. And that you want to see Andrew Thomas get beat by the elite. So if he's getting beat by Abdul Carter and now we're not hearing anything, I guess Andrew Thomas fixed the problem. So I'd like to hear your thoughts, and we can go from there.
And before I get to that, I'm gonna get to some of these comments real quick. Alex here, man, says I like the room and linebackers we have. I can see McFadden wanting to be a starter, but wouldn't be bad behind Edmonds, Reese, plus Jack Kelly. Bye, Moa Sal. Absolutely. I wish they just go ahead and cut him, man. Arvell Reese doesn't. Two giant goofballs says Arvell Reese doesn't enter the hive. He controls it. Fast, ruthless, and relentless. Big Blue found its enforcer. Absolutely, this kid is all about football, man. Like that's all he cares about. He literally lives, breathes, eats, sleeps, shit. It's just football with him. Everything is just football, and I love it. He's focused. He's determined to be great, and he wants to learn. He's a sponge. He wants to continue to learn and get better. He says, Scale 17 says Malik going to be healthy for the season. That's still work in progress. He's coming along pretty good so far. Still just doing individual work though. Ace Code, who is Mosley apparently. What's going on, Mosley? Appreciate you popping in. Ghost Dog, what up, man? What's going on, Ghost Dog, man? Peace and salute to you too, brother. Appreciate you, man. It says Goofballs. Drew says Dart is learning a new offense, playing under center more than ever. Different landing spots to throw from. People need to have patience with Dart. I absolutely agree. Yes. Couldn't agree more.
Let's
second-year quarterback. Hold on. It's a second-year quarterback that's looking to, that's learning a lot of new things, different things, playing a lot under center, more than he ever has before. So it's a lot to take on, and it's still early in the process. So I agree. People need to be more patient. People are already going crazy, saying crazy things.
I think what we need to realize is this, okay? When you go from playing a certain type of way, and we'll find out how good Jackson Dart is, to playing in this new style. Because remember, Brian Dable last year brought in college concepts to help his quarterback out. Now Jackson Dart, like I told you, is learning 3 different offenses from 3 different guys and trying to make it one giant offense, right? So what's going to happen, and this is what could cost the Giants early against good teams like the Rams and things of that ilk, is if he throws a pick because somebody's not familiar with what's going on, or he makes the wrong read just because it's not necessarily him, or somebody missteps because they're all learning this new offense together, right? So Dart has got to be evaluated in the way of how the offense is built around him and what they're trying to do. What it sounds to me they're trying to do and the way that they're being built sounds like they're going to be a pretty run-heavy team. That's why I think they're still in the market for a running back. I think they wanted one last year in the draft. I think they still want one now. A guy that's been rumored is Najee Harris. Not saying that he's the guy that they want, but to me, if you're going to be a 12-personnel team, what they did with Derrick Henry is essentially what I think they're trying to do here with the Giants, is get a big smash-mouth team, and then they work off the play action and kind of do some concepts from Kansas City when Kansas City was able to run the ball and allow Mahomes to get out in the pocket. Notice in those offenses that we're talking about, they had featured tight ends, whether it was Mark Andrews, whether it was Travis Kelce, whether it's now going to be Isaiah Likely. The tight end was a predominant figure in that thing. They also were built with a stud receiver, right? In Kansas City, they had Tyreek Hill, and they had DeAndre Hopkins in the Ravens land, of course, Zay Flowers, of course, but I don't think he's a bona fide number one. But you get what I'm saying in terms of mirroring. So it's kind of interesting to see what's going to happen. And you are taking Dart out of his element. Apparently, he's learning new footwork. So new footwork has to be, lockstep with your movements. So it may take a few. Don't ping him because he's learning. If he doesn't get better as the season progresses, then we can have a different discussion. But as he starts out in those first couple games, if it doesn't always look clean, just let it be.
It's the same as last year. He's getting better as camp progresses. I mean, it's not like he's just out there absolutely sucking. He's just having a few struggles, learning a new offense, going against what seems to be a pretty high-powered defense right now. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot to take in, a lot to ingest, man. So you got to factor all of that in, man. It ain't like he's going out there and just getting. It's like he's getting worse and worse every day. He's still coming along. He's still progressing. It's just that it's still a work in progress. He's still learning a lot. That's all it is.
I guess what I think people are expecting is, like, if he's not out the gate gangbusters like he was last year, they're going to oh, he sucks. We're going to need a new quarterback. And what we need to do, like the goofball said, is be patient because, again, they're trying to mirror 3 different offenses into one. I can only imagine what's going through this kid's head right now as he's sitting there, like, singing, looking at the playbook, like, what in the hell is happening? Too many cooks in the kitchen, and hopefully that doesn't bite the Giants in the ass down the road.
No, this is what it is. I mean, it's just exactly the same as last year. He didn't come out gangbusters last year either. Right away, it took him a little moment. But he progressively continued to get better and better. And then when he got his opportunity on the field, just saw what the kid did, what he was able to do. So let's just remember that.
I mean, I'm not worried.
I'm not worried at all. Jeffrey Brunson, welcome to the chat, man. Appreciate you stopping in. He says, where do you rank Washington now since they acquired Stephon Diggs? I mean, it's tough. I mean, the division is still tough, man. I don't know. It's hard to just, I think any one of these teams, I think, can legitimately win this division this year. And I mean that, even down to the New York Giants. I think anybody can win. The division is open to anybody. It's close. It's going to be as close as it's been probably in years. It's good. I think we're going to get back to some of like the old school NFC East football, man. I really believe that we're going to see that this year within this division. It's going to be very competitive. So it's just tough, but they got better. They definitely did get better indeed. Absolutely giving Jalen Daniels another weapon is going to be interesting, man. But let me talk about the New York Giants a little bit, man, because yes, the defense has been absolutely, dominating practices. Abdul Carter is, Andrew Thomas not only, Andrew Thomas mentioned something I think that is interesting is something he said about Abdul Carter. As he said, Abdul Carter has put together, a few new moves this year as well in his pass rush. So he's not just doing the same old thing like he was doing last year. He's putting together, some new stuff and adding some more to his repertoire, which is also making him that much more tougher to deal with. So that's high praise coming from one of the best offensive tackles in football, and Andrew Thomas. So Abdul Carter, right now, he has been an absolute standout in training camp, along with like Arvell Reese on it. And like you said, the whole linebacking core, right? Like Alex said in his comment earlier, that room is so strong right now. Tremaine Edmonds, Arvell Reese, Jack Kelly, Micah McFadden. Because Jack Kelly has been doing some good stuff, some very good things as well, man. He's, making a case for why he should definitely be part of this 53, man. And Arvell Reese, like you said, mentioned him about the run, how he's affected the run game at practice and plays he's been able to make. Not just that, even in the past also. He's out there swatting passes, knocking passes down, just out there in coverage. He's just the real deal, man. I'm so excited. And I cannot wait to see him in actual game action next week, man, next Saturday. Man, I can't wait to see how he looks out there against Minnesota. It'll be, I'm sure, very limited snaps, but I'm excited. And obviously Odell Beckham, who apparently had his best practice thus far of training camp today. Says here he's had multiple first team reps, highlight catches, making highlight reel catches, man, and he's just building chemistry now with Jackson Dart, whereas most of his reps in the first few days of training camp were out there with Jameis Winston And now he's out there building chemistry with Jackson Dart. I mean, look, I'm rooting for the guy. But like I said, I stand on business. He has to earn his spot legitimately, not just be handed it just because his name is Odell Beckham. And right now, he's doing everything he can to earn that spot. Still got to wait and see when it's really live bullets, though, because obviously there's always going to be an injury concern with Odell Beckham Jr., man. And Dalen Cambry, another guy on the back end of the wide receiving room that's been really out there making some plays as well. I mean, it's going to be a very uphill battle for him to make the team, obviously. But if he keeps this up, it might even be hard for the Giants to retain him on the practice squad, to be honest. He's been really out there making some plays, doing some big things in practice as well. So he's a guy to keep an eye on for sure. I would say it was Dalen Cambry but Jackson Dart, man, I would not even worry at all about Jackson Dart. This kid showed us last year what he's made of, and he works hard. It's like everybody says, one thing nobody on this team says anything about is his work ethic, man. This kid puts the work in to make himself better, man. So let's just not be getting all crazy. People just, Jackson Dart, is he really the guy? Look, I believe in what my eyes saw last year, that this guy is the guy, and he will be the guy. So, and as far as like you mentioned Paulson Adebo when you were talking earlier, yeah, it's been up and down for him in camp. Nothing too special. He's had a couple of interceptions, but other than that, not really, not really too much. So it's been, like I said, really up and down with him, man. And we'll see what happens. That cornerback room is interesting, man. It's a lot of moving parts. I mean, you're hearing good things about Tay Banks, Colton Hood, Greg Newsome. Got a lot of options there, man. It's really going to just matter who's the cream, man. The cream always rises to the top, man. We'll find out who that is, whether it's Paulson Adebo, Greg Newsome, whether it's Greg Newsome and Colton Hood, whether it's Tay Banks and Colton Hood. Who the hell knows? It could be whatever combination, man. But it's all going to come down to who's getting it done. One thing I note on the injury report, man, Drew Phillips, man, left practice early with a lower leg injury. Said it doesn't appear to be serious, but something to monitor for sure. Brian Burns didn't practice today because of a minor issue. Team still also not very concerned. And Malachi Fields is apparently, monitoring something minor as well, which I want to get to the bottom of this and figure out because he was held out of team drills yesterday as well. So I want to find out some more details on what's going on with him because he's been having a tremendous training camp as well. So any thoughts on Malachi Fields, as a matter of fact? Adam, what you think about things you've been hearing about Malachi throughout training camp?
I'm hearing from different reporters that he's pushing for the number 2 spot as a receiver. So, I mean, take it for what it's worth. That's Art Stapleton, kind of saying that that's what he's seeing. If he is really pushing for the number 2 spot, that's kind of interesting to me. And it makes me want to know about – I really want to know about like guys like Darnell Mooney and Calvin Austin who are also having solid camps, but their names are not sticking out as much, right? They're not – I think a third-round pick making that push shows me 2 things. One, Giants are desperate at receiver for a number 2. But 2, the growth of the third-round pick and what he's picking up right now. I think he'll be a red zone target. Again, if you think he's doing well, like Juju Smith-Schuster was injured with a knee, right? I thought it would be bad for him to not play. He made a catch of the day today, right? So when you are out, guys on the bottom of the roster who you are trying to phase out, they start to get reps. So let's hope that he's not missing more and more practice because you don't want to lose your spot. If you are pushing for that number 2 spot, I would like to see him do it, but there'd be a lot of young guys on the field. If he does win the job, then he's beat everybody outright, right? So we'll see what happens. For me, I like what I'm hearing, though, out of Fields from what he's done on the field, what he's bringing on the field, his attention to detail, and what he, as a third-round pick, you're not expecting much out of him right now, but the fact that, like I said, people are saying that he's pushing right now while he was practicing, pushing for the number 2 spot, you got to be encouraged by that. Right? You got to be encouraged that this young guy out of a predominantly run-heavy team with Notre Dame, they had Jeremiah Love last year, and they ran all over the country, is starting to develop here, and maybe he builds a rapport with Jackson Dart. And I know that people are worried about Jackson Dart and things that are going on, just give it some time. I think he's adjusting to the footwork, so we'll see what happens. But I'm hearing, I like what I'm hearing out of the rookie. I really want to hear more out of the running backs. I'm not really hearing much out of them. Like, I know Cam Scatterbu's here and Tracy, but I need a little bit more oomph out of them because they're going to be a big focal point of this offense. Turbo Miller hasn't really done much. The other guy, what's the new Bankston? He's intriguing, but again, he can make the practice squad. Singletary really hasn't done much. So really, if you're the Giants, this preseason, you want to watch the running back room, and if Malachi Fields is out there, you want to see how he adjusts to the pro game.
Absolutely, man. Great things to hearing so much good stuff from Malachi Fields, and that is promising for the New York Giants. If he can come and establish himself and be that guy, we'll see. Only time will tell. But A-Train here, man, says Diggs signed with the Commanders. NFC is wide open. Love the competition. # New York Giants for life. Thanks for hopping in, A-Train. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Hit that like for the stream, man. Really appreciate it, bro. Eric Gray is looking amazing. No one has said that because Eric Gray is not looking amazing because I forget Eric Gray is even on the team most of the time. So that's
Eric Gray.
So you're talking about the Giants. Alex says the flip side is I love the defense's cohesion thus far, though I am scared as for cornerback spot outside of Newsome. I mean, it is, but at the same time, if the reports that I'm hearing about, like, for instance, Tay Banks are accurate, who knows, man? Maybe he can finally get his head out of his ass. I mean, apparently a lot of stuff came out lately. The last couple of days I've been hearing a lot of stuff about last year. He had some personal things going on, things that he was dealing with off the field, personal stuff that might have affected him a little bit as well. I don't like to give these guys those kind of excuses because when you come to work, you got to get to work, and you got to get to work, got to get the job done. Regardless, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I think the system is more geared towards his skill set, and we'll see a little bit more of the rookie. We possibly could see a little bit more of what we saw his rookie season as opposed to what we've been seeing in the last few seasons. And hopefully, I'm rooting for these kids. I root for the kid. I mean, he was the first-round pick, and hopefully he can work it out. I mean, but at the end of the day, I do agree, man. Right now, it's still dicey until somebody really proves themselves.
Here's something that's an interesting tidbit. Apparently, in the practice notes that you're hearing from like Connor Hughes and other people, is that Deontay Banks and Greg Newsome were cornerbacks 1 and 2, and they demoted Paulson Adebo to the number 2 spot. Now, again, it's early in camp. Maybe they're just trying to work things out and see things. But at the end of the day, those things are really interesting to hear and not something that you want to hear out of your $54 million cornerback that you signed. 1, getting beaten by Deontay Banks, who's in the doghouse, and 2, getting beat by a newcomer in Greg Newsome, who hasn't been here for more than a drink of water, right? So that does concern me. It does concern me big time. Deontay Banks still has to prove it to me in a game. He can miss me with all this practice notes. That's great. I'm sorry you had personal issues. Suck it up, Buttercup. I mean, that's what you do. That's what grown men do. You go to work for your teammates. You block it out for 3 hours of your day. If you can't block out something for 3 hours of your day to go out there and fight with your teammates and try to win a ball game, then this is not the business for you. We can't have that same expectation for the quarterback to have. It has to be everybody. And I've spoken about it with, Alex as well in terms of real life. When if you're a leader on your team, no matter what's going on in your life, you got to go out there and figure it out because that's what life is about. If you have a death in the family, your girlfriend's, cheated on you or something's happening, you can't just blame that. Well, that sucks for you. But guess what? They're not here right now. We're here in the moment. You can go deal with that after the game's over. Hell, I'll drive you over to their house or, you can call me up about whatever you need if it's like a death in the family. But right now, I need you locked in. And last year, he was not locked in. So hopefully, like you said, I'm not counting on it, but hopefully he'll be able to get that and he's not cooked come Sunday night because it was Sunday Night Football. Let's say he's starting and CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens go off on him and he loses his confidence. We might have a repeat of of what happened last year. But I'm glad that he's getting burned. It sucks for Drew Phillips right now that he's a little banged up, but we'll see. I think your starting corners are going to be Greg Newsome, are going to be Adebo or Banks, and I think you have your fourth will be Drew Phillips, and then probably Art Green. His name seems to be bantied about a bit throughout the coaching staff as well. He could obviously make the team going forward. And my real concern though, besides the DBs, are the safeties. What is Tyler Newman? What will he be in this defense? Or will they run three safeties? Because if Adorius Washington is playing well and Tyler Newman is not necessarily a great center fielder, do I put him in as a nickel linebacker, right? This is what you guys need to start getting excited about when you look at defenses. What can Denard Wilson do to mix and match against these teams that might have a lot of skill players? It looks like they can match up with big on big, with Arvell Reese and DJ Reader and all this stuff. Then they can do the speed package when they have, Darius Alexander, they have Kayvon Thibodeau, Carter. They can use a safety and move Newman up to the line of scrimmage, move Adoree Washington to free safety, and then have Holland Rowe underneath. You can do so many things. It'll matter about health and a matter of what they're going to do.
All right, back to the comments real quick. Jeffrey Brunson, I've been with Dart is a backup. Giants need to go after Manning in the draft, brother. I'm sorry. I appreciate you coming into the stream. Appreciate you engaging in the chat, man. But I got to give you a whole lot of pushback on this one, brother. A whole lot of pushback. Jackson Dart last year proved that he's a starting quarterback in the NFL. All right, and right now, there ain't no way in the world I'm tossing him to the side to go after what we hope is, you know what I mean? What we hope Manning can be, man. The only way that happens,
honestly, is if he has a complete and utter disaster of a year. Like utter disaster. And what does that mean? Well, he's fumbling, like literally. Think of Daniel Jones, those type of years where he's throwing to nobody, he's looking left, they're going right, a complete disaster. I don't think that's going to be him. Is it yet to be determined if he's a franchise guy? What I saw last year, he did a lot with a little. So, thank you for showing up. You don't know what. I love that. That's funny.
I guess they can still sign Ayuk, but it sounds like he'll be out of the league soon. I don't want any part of that right now. I don't want no part of that.
Stephon Diggs, they're definitely not sending Brandon Ayuk.
Arvell Reese shit of football. He might shit footballs because I think that's all the kid seems to know.
I know for his birthday he had a football cake. I'm just kidding. I don't know that. I don't know that.
So I feel like Isaiah Hodgins, Alex says, I feel like Isaiah Hodgins probably gets a practice squad spot. Cambry could be the fifth receiver because of specials. It's going to be tough, man. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of tough decisions there. I mean, they're making it interesting on that wide receiver depth chart, man. I mean, you got a few guys that I feel like you can just pencil right in, and then there's also the Calvin Austin factor as well. I mean, it's. And Odell Beckham really doing the things he's doing. It's crazy. But it's going to be some tough decisions.
Interesting. Because I thought about this, right? The X factor for me is Darius Slayton. Because I think four guys we already talked about before. We have Mooney, Austin. At least this is mine. I don't know what yours are, but I'll give mine. I have Mooney, Austin, Neighbors, and Fields. Those are my four locks for the team, right? Then – if you were to say, let's say Slayton's not traded, I would say by his contract, he's 5. So that leaves one spot available. Now, what the Giants could do is now that you can put veterans on the practice squad, right? Let's say Odell Beckham has a good season. If you cut him, he might end up on someone else's team. But like a guy like Juju Smith-Schuster, I could see them putting him on the practice squad and the Giants going with 5 wide receivers and just using the practice squad as a call-up, right? So let's say you have Cambry, you have Schuster, and then you have the other receiver that somebody mentioned, just a few minutes ago. Let's just use Jalen Hyatt for this exercise, right? You can bring those guys up, and they can be your sixth receiver going forward, or Braxton Berrios, right? You can put Berrios on the practice squad, Schuster on the practice squad. Let's say Cambridge, right? And if you need a sixth receiver that game because or a guy's banged up during the week, you can bring up a guy who's already on the offense there. So that's why I think if they're playing the roster gymnastics, look out for in this game, in this game of roster gymnastics. I do believe Darius Slayton could be on the trading block as well. I wouldn't put it past him. He has 1 year left on his contract on a guy that we absolutely unequivocally know will not be back next season. But I'd probably just sealed his fate right there. Probably just kissed the death. The next thing you know, they're going to sign him to a fucking multi-year extension. But I don't think that and this is the term I've been using to a lot of people. We talk about micro and macro. The macro of it all is we look at the big picture. He's probably not going to be on this team. So if you know this, and the Giants have to have this, if you are a good GM and a good front office, you have to have the foresight to say, okay, what are we going to do here? Because if he does have a good preseason and we think these other 4 guys are better than him, why don't we trade him for something instead of letting him walk away and getting nothing and sitting on the bench as the 5th guy who does, because he doesn't play special teams, okay? He can give you a 4th receiver option, but you got to think Calvin Austin's going to play, Malachi Field's going to play, Mooney you paid money to, he's going to play, and of course Neighbors has got to play. And that we haven't mentioned Isaiah Likely and also the running backs that you're putting on the field. So there's the 4th receiver may not get a lot of burn, even the 5th receiver. So if you think that you have a trade partner with him and he's having a solid preseason or camp, you let him go to a team and you go allow him to get traded, right? If that happens down the road, because I just think if Odell Beckham Jr. is playing well, why I can keep him? He's cheaper. He's not going to be here next year, but at least I know I'm not investing the $12 million. And if he sucks, I can cut him and have no worries, right? Odell Beckham Jr. gets injured. They're not going to have any recourse to keep him because they're going to be, oh, well, sorry, we'll put you on IR or we'll release you and you can come back in a few weeks, right? Whereas Slayton is you got to pay him that $12 million and there's no guarantee he's going to. That to me tells me by money that he has to play. And if he's not going to play because you have these other guys that you deem that are going to get burned plus the offense that you built, you need to get rid of him. And that's my X factor on him.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I just feel like Slayton, for me, when it comes to a guy like Slayton, I'm all about the trading for real. I would that would be the best case scenario. But I just feel like if he gets through training camp, I just don't see a scenario in which he's not on the 53. I just don't see it where he's not
right.
on the 53.
So then again, that leaves your 6th receiver. Who are you going to get? Because if you play the game of the roster gymnastics, like we're talking about, and let's say you keep Manhurts, you keep Johnson, and you keep Isaiah Likely, then what do you do with a guy like Fedoni or Deontay Banks or the extra lineman? Am I going to sacrifice keeping them because I want to keep Odell Beckham Jr. as nostalgia, or would I rather just, if Odell doesn't want to be on the practice squad, say, listen, I'll put Juju, I'll put Berrios, and I'll put Xavier Gibson on the practice squad, and I still have my receivers I can bring up in a pinch. You know what I mean? That's just how you're gonna have to look at that. If these guys make the team, I'm hoping they trade Slayton, but if Slayton is a lock, like you say, he's the 5th receiver, then the Giants may only go with 5 guys and keep the 6th guy and the 7th guy on the practice squad and just bring them up when necessary.
That's what I think too. I mean, we'll see. I have to see. It's going to be some tough decisions to get made. It's going to be some interesting decisions getting made when it comes to us figuring out the receivers on this team behind Malik Neighbors. But Clinton Jones here says, what y'all think about the kicker and the punter? Man, look. I love the fact that we have actual kicking competition.
Yes.
I love the fact that whoever wins the job, they will have earned it. Hearing great things about Zavada, his big leg, but Ben Sauls is also hanging in there as well, making some big kicks as well. Yeah. So it's just interesting, and it's fun, and it's good, and it's a great competition. And I've heard nothing negative about Jordan Stout either. I mean, they're kickers and punters in training camp. I mean, not a whole lot to go on there, not a whole lot to say. As long as they're making field goals, as long as he's getting the good punts off, because one thing for certain, Jordan Stout is definitely going to be the punter. That's for sure. Ain't no competition there. He is going to be the punter. He is the highest paid punter in the league now. Apparently, we made him the highest paid punter. He's going to come out there to do a job for us. So, but yeah, as far as like I said, with these receivers, man, let's back to them a little bit, man, because this is interesting that after Malik Neighbors, man, it's such a cluster of guys that I'm not sure who's really truly even better than the other, honestly. That's just where it's that where right now, like with last few days in practice, Odell Beckham's been getting first team reps. You know, it's going to be an interesting competition to follow, and the reality is we're going to be cutting a couple of guys where like Odell Beckham, as far as like practice squad, I don't think he would want any parts of a practice squad, but I think if he plays good enough throughout the preseason and training camp, and the Giants do decide to not retain him, I think somebody else would take a guy like Odell Beckham anyway, just because he's ODB. His hands, from what I'm hearing, are still exactly as they've always been. He's just he hasn't had a burst anymore like he used to, like he once had, obviously. But from what I'm hearing, his hands are amazing still, and I don't think he would get to the practice squad anyway. So either you're going to keep him, or he's going to be playing for somebody else this year. And that's just how I feel about what Odell Beckham doing, especially with what he's showing right now. So if he can get through this process healthy, through training camp and preseason healthy, I think he's going to be playing for somebody this season, whether it's the Giants or it's going to be somebody else. I just don't see him sitting on the practice squad. But that's my opinion of that. And this crowded receiver room, things I'm hearing about Juju Smith-Schuster have not been promising. I just right now, from what I've been hearing, I don't even see a path for him to actually make the roster, to be honest. I think
he made a big catch today, so that's what I heard.
Well, he got back to practice today. He didn't practice yesterday, so he got back today, and I didn't see the highlights yet or anything, but yeah, just haven't been hearing any good things about Juju. Has been really just kind of, just like nothing. He's not really doing anything special. He's not really asserting himself, not separating himself from the competition. In other words, man. So Alex says here, my ideal O-line room is Andrew Thomas, John Runyon, JMS, Maui Noah, Illuminor, Marcus Bowe, Patrick Davis, and Aaron Stinney. I'd be definitely okay with that. Right now, apparently we got at right tackle, the backup right tackle so far, the number 2 right tackle in camp so thus far has been actually your guy, Adam, Joshua Azudu. He's been getting the majority of the second team right tackle reps. So that's also going to be a room where we've got more depth than we're used to having. And who knows, it's going to be some tough cuts there as well. It's going to be some tough decisions to make with the offensive line room too. And can we stop the run? From what I'm hearing, DJ Reader is he's been doing that. So hopefully he can do it against other teams. But from what I'm hearing so far from DJ Reader, between him and Arvell Reese, Tremaine Edmonds, and company, that looks like that might be a real thing this year. That the teams aren't going to be gashing us for 8 yards a carry, or whatever. I mean, I know that wasn't quite what the number was last year, but it was still ridiculously high. And so hopefully we do have that kind of resolve. At the end of the day, day is over. You're not wrong. I agree. So Adam is right, as we did speak about that, about someone when you are playing or in the office, you got to work, man. You can't talk out both sides of your mouth. I definitely agree with that, man. Like I said, straight up, I mean, we all got lives outside of our jobs, man. We do. We all got families. We all got things that whatever mean a lot to us, whatever it is, whatever it may be. But if you come to work, you got to be there and prepared to work, man. So I definitely agree with that. Tyrone Hall, thanks for stopping in tonight, man. I appreciate you, buddy. Salute AC and Mac in the chat. Heard the offense improved and OBJ flashed. Offense had a better day. Still, defense still overall won the day, but offense was better. Offense was still better today. It says ideal cornerback room. Alex says ideal cornerback room. Art Green, Paulson Adebo, Hood, Phillips, Newsom, and they'll probably keep Banks for special teams. I'm thinking that right now, from what I'm hearing, I don't see a path where Banks is not going to make the team from what I'm hearing so far. Things could change. Get out there in the preseason games and see some of the stuff that we saw for the last couple of years from him, and all that can change. So we'll keep. He's a guy. He's a guy to monitor. Says Cream, what happened to all the honey? NFC East is a real beehive. What are we talking about beehives for, y'all? What is going on? Neighbors just got to be himself. Come on, Joe Ferris. All right, fellas. Good night. Ready for week 5, man. All right, Scale. Thanks for popping in, bro. The team is unbelievable. You guys beat damn bee jokes. All right. The bees, damn it. New York Liberty is win. I wouldn't know Tudo blocked me for talking crap about DJ years ago.
Who?
Oh, man. He said Tudo blocked you, man, because he was talking about DJ? Doesn't sound like Tudo.
I was on an island. Been there.
Another 4-win season will really sting. Yeah, it would. But I don't see that happening.
7. At the worst, 7.
It says, look at the contract Slayton would have to be traded. You save less than $1 million if you cut him. He will be a Giant in 26. Book it. Yeah. I definitely kind of feeling that, thinking that too, man. I don't get to cut Slayton, Singletary, Runyon, Crowd. Not even worth it.
They're not going to be on the team next year anyway, so I don't really care if they're there. But if they're not going to do nothing, get rid of them.
Chiefs could pick up OBJ. I mean, look. What anybody could. I think, honestly, like I said, if for whatever reason, if he makes it through training camp healthy and preseason healthy, and he doesn't make the roster, I just can't see a scenario in which somebody doesn't scoop him up on their team. Somebody will be desperate enough possibly to scoop him up. AFC West is tough this year. Clinton, can the Giants take it? Seems like their window is closing too. I mean, the Chiefs take it on. Damn Giants. All right. Let me just catch these up real quick. Have our OC back. Chargers get their O-line back, and Broncos are elite. Raiders are even better. Okay, you still got 40-year-old Travis Kelce, Rashid Rice just out of jail, and Mahomes coming off an ACL. I don't know. What are we talking about? We're talking about the Chiefs. He said, okay, guys, enough of the Chiefs. All these other newly signed wide receivers, if they were any good, they wouldn't be here. It's all short, low-cost deals. That's. I mean, yes and no. I mean, they're just a lot. They're veterans. They're older guys. I mean, like they're. You know what I mean? But right now, Barrios is showing he got game. OBJ is showing he still got game. Like I said, Juju not so much so far, but you never know. We get into these preseason games too. That all counts. It's going to all matter too. That's where it's going to be more valuable for these guys, man. More so than even practice. Seeing them against other people, other teams. Imagine worrying about some picking up a player that hasn't seen an NFL field in 18 months. I mean, look, I just can't imagine. I feel like if he does enough, where he was a borderline, almost makes the Giants, and they just decide not to go with him. I just can't see somebody sitting there looking at him on our practice squad and just saying, you know what, he did kind of work out really well, but throughout the summer for them, I think somebody will give him a shot. I think it's teams in the league that would just do that. I mean, yeah, it's been a while. I mean, that year in Miami was absolute ass, a complete throwaway year for him. And, yeah, he hasn't done much of anything in the last few years at all.
I'm not expecting anything out of OBJ. What I'm expecting him to do is they're throwing him a bone here, getting him the first team reps, getting him in the news blotter, right? So that when he does get cut later on this year, somebody's going to pick him up saying, well, he did well with the Giants, let me pick him up. Because if you think that Slayton's going to make the roster, there's only one spot left, and that guy's got to play special teams. It just has to happen. So if Odell Beckham Jr. is not playing special teams and you have that roster construction that we talked about, It's going to be hard to justify keeping him and not giving him a jersey on Sundays.
But the thing about Odell Beckham, though, like one thing about it is what he's doing. The things that's why I really think I want to see the next step with him next week in the preseason game against Minnesota. I think it is next Saturday, because right now out in practice, like even against the ones, even against the starting defense, he's out there. The issue they said with him the first few days of practice, it wasn't that he wasn't getting open. They just weren't throwing the ball. Winston wasn't throwing the ball to him. He's still, as he's moving up and working out with the ones, he's getting open. He has the ability. He has the savvy route running ability, and he's still getting open. And now Dart is actually hitting him, as opposed to Winston not throwing the ball to him. So I don't know. It's hard for me to gauge that. I really want to see him in the game. I want to see him taking hits, see how his body reacts to being hit, because with him, that's my biggest concern, because clearly the hands are still top notch. He's still, like I said, he doesn't have that burst that he used to have back in the day, obviously, but it seems like he has some value potentially, man. So he's going, like I said, this wide receiver room is going to be an interesting story. It's not black and white. Malik Neighbors is the only bona fide stud in this receiver room, period, and no one else is. Literally no one else is. You can so. It's going to be an interesting thing to figure out how they sort through this and figure out which direction they want to go. That's just what it comes down to, man.
Follow the money.
So, you want any final thoughts for me to get ready to wrap this up, man?
My thoughts are follow the money. The guys that got paid: Slayton, Austin, Mooney, Malachi Fields drafted. Those 4 guys they have invested in, right? Everybody else is a cheap contract. So again, those 4 guys to me are locks, barring a bona fide, injury. And then of course there's Malik Neighbors. So, this numbers game is going to be interesting, and we're gonna see how this Odell thing plays out.
Yeah, Tyreek Hill I don't see him playing football this season. That injury was devastating, man. It was a really bad one, man. So I can't foresee. Maybe later in the season, maybe potentially, but he'll definitely, even if he is able to play, it's not going to be until, who knows, November, December at best, probably. So yeah, that's about it we got, man. Like I said, I'm loving what I'm seeing out of the New York Giants defense right now. Hopefully, we can keep the intensity up. Hopefully, we can bring this energy against other teams. And hopefully, Abdul Carter can be what the number 3 overall pick is supposed to be for the entire season, not just the last 4 or 5 games, man. He's been showing some great things, man. On the injury note, wide receiver Bo Collins has been waived injured. So, it is what it is. That's one less person in the receiver room to be in the mix in that competition, man. Look, they got to have something to talk about, brother. They got to have something to talk about, man. That's just what it is. That's what the media does, man. But, yeah, I'm not going to entertain the Jalen Hyatt stuff. Jalen Hyatt, yeah, he's made some plays. Made a big play today, apparently. He's putting together some good practices. He did do that a year ago. The difference between him and Deonte Banks is Deonte Banks sucked in practice last year as well. It wasn't like he was out there looking good in training camp. He was stinking in training camp as well. And this year we're getting different energy from him. That's why I look at them a little bit differently. And because, like I said, I've seen Deonte Banks at least have some decent football. Granted, it was only his rookie year, but we've seen it. I'm still yet to see that from Jalen Hyatt in any capacity. So that's why I kind of look at that differently, even though you're talking about 2 players on the bubble on the bubble. I don't see a path for Jalen Hyatt to make this team, no matter what he does in practice, because I think that we got too much competition at that receiver position, and I just don't see him being the guy that's going to stick. But like I said, any final thoughts, Adam, before you go? You want to wrap it up?
I'm all set.
Well, let's go. Appreciate everybody in the chat once again coming out for another edition of the Real Deal NFC East Roundup. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, man. And make sure you go to my channel, so hit and subscribe. Go to Adam's channel and subscribe. Really appreciate it. It don't cost a thing to hit that subscribe button. It don't cost a thing to hit that like button as well, man. Just support the stream. Continue to help our channels grow. I am Mac the Giants fan. This is my super dope co-host Adam Costas, and we'll be back next Wednesday with some more NFC East news on another edition of the Real Deal NFC East Roundup. Thanks. I'd like to thank you all for listening. If you was feeling this, please take time to subscribe and smack them likes. Feel free to drop a comment and let me know what you think. Don't forget to ring that bell so you know when I'm dropping new content. It's your boy, Mac the Giants fan. You can find me on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook at Mac the Giants fan. That's MacDA Giants fan. It don't cost a thing to hit that like button. Just do it. Do it. Do it.